growing tea for the first time in the UK is actually a new industry, not just a new product, so full of challenges, and technically as well as then marketing and finding the right kind of customer base, and lots of mistakes were made along the way, but also huge wins. You know, we landed the Great Western Railway contract to produce tea for the first class carriages. We started selling tea to China. We were invited to contract grow tea for very serious brands. Fortnum & Mason became a customer. So lots of wins, but huge challenges along the way as well. For example, growing tea organically, which is where we can end up here, is very challenging for the first 5 years. So we actually came out of the Soil Association scheme and will probably rejoin when the tea is established, because this crop will be here for potentially 500 years, 400 years, we don't know. Producing tea organically is pretty straightforward, except for weed control. In those first 5 years, in tea producing areas like Tregothnan or Darjeeling, the weed growth is truly phenomenal. So a little bit of herbicide can really help establish the tea. One of the challenges of producing and selling the ultimate English tea is that we also did other things, other farming activity. We're Manuka honey producers, floristry producers, and we had to convince the world that we were really serious about tea and not just a mixed farm. Right from the beginning, we've modeled a lot of what we do on the Japanese tea industry, where it's highly mechanized and quite technical, and the quality is superb. So we've modeled ourselves on that, but then we've had to really speed things up. During the pandemic, we developed our own sort of tea bot, like a robot that glides across the top of the tea bushes and picks the top 2 leaves in the bud, which is really the best quality that you're looking for. And it can work roughly 100 times quicker than I can pick, but still not compromise on quality. In horticulture and agriculture, we tend to be quite media shy, but I learned very early on that the media can be your best friend. And actually, we got exposure in the Daily Telegraph and loads of BBC and world media, in fact. And as a result, we ended up with over 35 varieties of tea being given to us by retired tea planters. And they'd retired back here, brought their very favourite tea bushes home with them, and then they were well into retirement, not able to look after them anymore, and they basically emptied their greenhouses out and sent them down to Tregothnan. So we ended up with probably decades of research given to us on our lap, and that's all thanks to media engagement.